Wild turkeys are taking over Ottawa, or at least for some it feels that way.
There's two toms that are strutting their stuff, yeah.
They go after people at bus stops. They are by your car when you arrive home.
He just sat there patiently and put the sling around his butt and popped them right out.
Two families are in shock after a pickup truck with two peacocks inside was stolen from a hotel parking lot over the weekend.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird.
Handsome Aaron Airport. We're back yet again to keep Canada weird by seeking out and highlighting all the unique and offbeat stories that played out across this great nation over the past week. But let me ask you, how many times have we done this, including tonight?
Once.
This is our 211th episode of Keep Canada Weird, and that doesn't count all the mailbags like the one we just released a couple days back and all the special episodes and spin-offs we've done. We're here for episode 211 of Keep Canada Weird, and that's a special number. Not because 211 is some area code of some amazing, interesting place with a storied history, but 211 is an interesting phone number. Can I tell you a bit about it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I've got about 25 minutes or so. Go ahead.
I'm going to make it quick. So I've been choosing the episode numbers and trying to find an interesting area code or mathematical feature of the number. With 211, we truly have an interesting number, and I actually learned a little bit about something. 211 or 211 is a special 3-digit abbreviated dialing code in Canada as well as the United States that can be used to access local information and referral services to health, human, and social service organizations. Like I've heard of 411 for information, 911 for emergencies. 211 is like the catch-all for everything else. If you need something and it's not an emergency, 211 is what you dial. Did you know that?
No, but I will call 211 to see what I should do about getting this whole numbers thing taken off at the top of the episodes.
Okay. They could probably refer you to someone. Maybe they could refer you to like some kind of social service where people interested in starting podcasts can, meet at the local library or something. Because that's the kind of thing 211 does. Basically, when someone doesn't know where to turn, they turn to 211. Anyway, that's all I got for numbers. You want to get into special drinks?
Yeah, please. Anything but numbers, please.
I'm excited to get into special drinks because I've been searching for this soft drink for weeks. Finally have found it. It's called Dirty Mountain Dew Cream Soda Dew, and it's 0 sugar. Have you seen this before?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's like a cream soda Mountain Dew. Let me try it. Okay, I'm not over-exaggerating when I say that is bloody amazing. What do you got over there?
I'm rocking a staple. I got some decaffeinated Earl Grey tea with some oat milk and some stevia. So I'm enjoying that. It's nice and warm. It's a little chilly outside, so it's hitting the spot.
Yeah, and it's perked politely in a Robin's Donuts mug. That's nice. Let's invite a listener named Amy in to share her special drink and another bit of personal news.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is your American correspondent, Amy, calling from Baltimore, Maryland. I am calling in with a special drink to try today. Now that everything is copacetic between Cove and the Canadian Gothic, I figured it was time to purchase my very first Cove soda to try today. I'm also celebrating my birthday, so it's an extra special drink today. And I bought the rainbow sherbet flavor to try. I am not a soda drinker normally, so I hope it's good. All right, let's try it. Oh, okay. That tastes exactly like rainbow sherbet. Wow. Okay, I might be a new Cove Soda customer. Thanks, guys. Love the show.
Happy birthday, Amy, and welcome to the exciting world of soda pop drinking. For her birthday this year, she can experience the joy of soda pop.
Yeah, that's very exciting. It's, to turn a new leaf on your birthday, to be able to get a new habit that you didn't have before and truly master it and completely ruin your life around it, because that can happen with addiction.
Yeah, well, buckle up, Amy. It's a wild ride once you get into pop. Once you crack a few of them open, it's hard to stop, like you said, Aaron. Now, we got a few other things to get into. I don't want to make this show all front heavy because we did get a complaint last week. Someone left a negative review about Keep Canada Weird saying, I've been listening for 10 minutes and they haven't even gotten into the weird news stories. They said that about episode 210. And that was even after we edited out Wet Food with Ken Tiggs to put that at the back end of the episode. So I don't want to front load this, but I will call out to listeners of Keep Canada Weird and the Canadian Gothic. If you want to support the work we're doing here, the sterling work we're doing, go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast platform you use and leave a positive review for Keep Canada Weird and or the Canadian Gothic. 5 stars preferably. It helps the show, and to help support you supporting us, for a limited time, a positive review of the show will qualify you for a Keep Canada Weird swag pack. So take a moment, give us 5 stars, and then go to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and fill out the little form to claim your swag pack, and I'll send out a little thanks to you.
Yeah, and even if you don't care for, 15 to 20 minutes off the top being only about numbers, still give us a 5-star review anyway, because I'm thinking the listeners who don't like the numbers talk at the start, make your voices heard. Go to canadiangothic.com/contact and leave a voicemail to complain about it.
I like that. Now, I know we don't want to front load things. So for people listening to the podcast version, you're going to have a little bit of time travel here, because at the end of the show, if you stay tuned to the very end, you're going to get to hear the maiden voyage of my new segment called Dry Kibble with Penny. I'm going to go grab some dry food, and just like you did with Ken Tiggs last week, I'm going to let my sweet angel of a dog, Penny, chomp on some dry food with a mic in her face.
Okay.
So I'm going to run and get it. She doesn't know I'm planning this. I haven't mentioned this to Penny, but she's going to freak because she loves food. I'll be right back. Dry Kibble with Penny went a little unexpectedly, but let's get into the news stories. We got to catch up with an unfolding story that I think we've been following along since the beginning. The nationwide string of robberies related to Pokemon cards continues. Despite the undercover sting by Vancouver police that we covered in episode 208. Let's catch up with another Facebook Marketplace heist related to Pokemon cards.
3 teens have been arrested by Vancouver police in relation to a violent Pokemon card robbery. Officers were called to King Edward Avenue and Ontario Street just after 8 last night. The victim was attempting to sell 2 Pokemon cards worth $7,000 each over Facebook Marketplace when he was bear sprayed. The suspects, one 16-year-old and 2 15-year-old boys, took the cards and fled, but were later arrested in Burnaby. Police are now recommending criminal charges against the teens.
I wouldn't have been shocked by that story if it didn't happen in Vancouver, where there was just a high-profile bust of people doing this exact thing, except the people who did it before, it seemed to be like a more organized serial Pokemon thief. This seems to just be 3 kids who took a chance to bear spray someone for what totaled $14,000 of Pokemon cards. When is this going to stop, or will it? Or is this just the norm that we now live in?
This is the norm that we now live in. I think that is bear spray becoming so prevalent on the western part of Canada now, because this is not the first time that we've seen it used as the weapon of choice amongst delinquents and angry people.
I think it is more common in Western Canada. I did talk to Madeleine Klein about that once upon a time. She lives in Saskatchewan, and she told me it wasn't uncommon for there to be like evacuations of malls and stuff because some like kid or teenager sprayed a bunch of bear spray in there. I've never seen it personally on the East Coast here. I've never seen someone with bear spray. Maybe it's more common over there. I certainly see a lot of Pokemon cards here, and I can only imagine people are being robbed of them left, right, and center, given their skyrocketing value and even higher demand.
Yeah, and this is another circumstance where the police have offered up the police station as a place to go and do these deals. So they're saying nobody's going to rob you in front of a police station. So they really are begging for the entire, nation's Facebook Marketplace deals to go on right in front of their police station, completely disrupting any amount of work that they're going to get done at all throughout the day. So
Oh, something has to give. Anyway, we have a lot of interesting stories this week, and they're certainly going to be hitting on a theme. This is basically going to be an animal special of Keep Canada Weird, because when I collected all of the weirdest, most offbeat stories from the past week, one thing that came up time and time again was animals, birds, animals, moose, animals, peacocks. You'll see what I mean.
More birds
and more
animals.
I guess birds and animals are kind of under the same category, but I just wanted to make it clear that it was a lot of birds, but other animals as well.
Animals, other animals, some birds, more animals, another bird.
Let's take our first break, and when we get back, we're going to get into a segment that I'll call the Hypocritical Bird segment. It's a trio of stories that is truly hypocritical and involves birds and animals. Handsome Aaron Airport, I told you that this is going to be a hypocritical bird segment, and I hate to tell you, and I must tell you now, that it starts off very dark. But as we go through this, you'll see why I'm starting off with a story that I think involves animal cruelty. A shocking incident played out in Kelowna, BC just last week that involved baby geese being forced off of a 4-story balcony, leaving witnesses stunned and demanding accountability. Let's start off this hypocritical segment with the story of those guys that pushed the geese off of a balcony in Kelowna.
Stop it right now! This is a heartbreaking scene captured by witnesses after the 2 geese swooped down to check on their goslings that fell 4 stories onto the pavement. A few could be seen moving, while others were clearly injured. Moments before, a group of men wielding pool noodles and other objects could be seen corralling the family of geese towards the edge. Then the tiny birds could be seen plummeting to the ground.
I just was in complete shock. I actually saw one of the goslings hit the kind of sunshade on the way down and ricochet to the ground and not move when it landed there. And what can you do but stand there paralyzed? And I couldn't get out to the street fast enough to scream to stop it.
They're migratory birds and they're protected for a reason. So honestly, I think it came down to ignorance and also just complete disregard for the lives of these animals.
Kelowna RCMP say that they did respond to an animal call at the building on Doyle Avenue, and the person involved was educated about proper wildlife removal procedures. Canada geese are protected under the Migratory Birds Convention Act and should not be harmed or disturbed without a permit.
I hate those guys, and I hate that story, and I hate that the police went there and educated them on how you get rid of these animals. I don't think you need education when you're chasing like baby animals off a 4-story building with pool noodles. Like, that's cruelty.
No, this is an eye for an eye situation. So when the police showed up, it should have been like, all right, let's go to the 4th floor. We're going to get some wet pool noodles, or we're going to beat you off of the 4th floor and then see how they like it. It's a gross story. It's like, the fact that they are just casually doing this and just sweeping them off and then just watching them plummet. It's like, how can you be a human being and do this to an animal? Like, I can't wrap my mind around this.
Yeah, they're babies. They're like the little baby geese. They just look like little chicks, basically, that you'd see swimming around in a duck pond in spring, where it's the mom and the babies tailing behind. It's awful. And the people who did this, it wasn't like a group of just like idiots up there drinking. It was like building management trying to clear the baby geese off of the balcony. And the way they did it was try to scare them off the edge. And some of the geese were okay. Some of them were injured and were brought to like some rehab clinic or something.
Yeah.
But it sounds like some of the babies actually died. And it also sounds like there weren't charges laid, which I just think is outrageous.
Because what's the point of the law if they're not going to lay charges, if they're not going to put some kind of animal cruelty, law in place here that they're actually going to enforce? And also, these are birds that are protected under different laws, so that you're not supposed to be touching them or moving them from where they are. because of the type of bird they are.
Yeah, and anyone who listens to Keep Canada Weird, or who has listened for any length of time, we've come across story time and time again where migratory birds are some kind of a nuisance, and people are just left with their hands tied behind their back, needing to deal with it for fear of repercussions from the government. In this case, it seems like you can just do whatever the hell you want, be as cruel as you want, and not face charges. Which brings us to the next story. I told you this is going to be the hypocritical bird segment. Listen to what's going on in Ottawa with a very similar migratory bird. Wild turkeys are popping up all over the city, and some residents find them charming. Some residents say they're terrorizing their community.
Wild turkeys are taking over Ottawa, or at least for some it feels that way.
There's 2 toms that are strutting their stuff, yeah. Yeah, it's mating season.
In this neighborhood along Prince of Wales by the Rideau River, resident Jim Hagerman says around half a dozen call this street home.
There are pets around here, really, but some of the neighbors aren't too happy about them.
I haven't really had that much of a problem with them, but I can understand why people are concerned, because they are big birds.
Pushing past 20 pounds and usually shy until they're not.
They've scared a lot of people in the neighborhood.
This rafter of turkeys are known for some foul behavior.
Go! Even delivery guys come, and the delivery guys are afraid to get out of their trucks.
And turkeys don't seem too fazed, well, by anything. Here they're roosting on an Orleans lawn. And why? Why is the turkey crossing the O-train tracks Wednesday morning? Whether it's bravado or bird brain, residents are getting ruffled.
They go after people at bus stops. They are by your car when you arrive home.
Ottawa councillor Riley Brockington says it's time for these birds to fly the coop.
We're at the point, though, where I do believe these turkeys need to be relocated. We are not able to coexist successfully because of how aggressive these turkeys are.
But until the city settles on what to do, here's some turkey tips. Don't try to pet or feed them.
No more bird feeders, certainly for the summer.
If you see a turkey, keep your distance. If you're in a car, roll up the window.
You gotta honk your horn and go at them, and then they'll take off.
If you're afraid of them, I think they sense it, and they'll come towards you. But if you just ignore them, everything's fine.
I really think they got to send some of those Ottawa turkeys to Kelowna to hang out on that building. I think that'd be a fair punishment.
Yeah, and they mentioned bird feeders in there too, so that's going to be an interesting transition into another story we have tonight, Bob.
We will get to
that.
You
don't mess around with wild turkeys. And suggesting that if you just ignore them and they'll go away, I think is also a false narrative and bad advice, because I think if you do ignore them, I'm sure they'll find a way to get your attention pretty quickly. And that's probably eating your ankles while you're screaming for your family to help you.
Yeah, but at the same time, we share this environment with them. Calling back to those guys in Kelowna, they didn't even want these baby geese on their patio. They were willing to kill them. Ottawa is basically under siege, and no one has gotten out of line where they're actually hurting these things. They're letting the government handle it. We've heard from I don't know if it was a counselor or whatever in that piece where he says, it's getting to a point we may need to look at doing something like relocating them. That's how you deal with that stuff. You don't push the birds off the building. I'm just so upset about that.
And good luck trying to push a wild turkey off a building. I mean, these things, they will eat you alive. You would have no chance against a wild turkey. If I saw a wild turkey, I'd be moving. I'd be selling my home, putting the for sale sign in the front yard, and taking off. It's like, wild turkeys. Yeah. I'm just going to sell my house at a loss and give up.
Yeah. Those bullies in Kelowna were just punching down at baby goslings. Those turkeys would have taken a lot more than a pool noodle. And how outrageous is it to chase an animal with a pool noodle? It's so silly.
Yeah. Well, a pool noodle itself is a very silly thing. It's dumb looking. It's an obnoxious color, and yeah, they should be banned. These pool noodles.
They should. And they're not even that great in a pool. Growing up, I had a pool, and we always had pool noodles around just because they were at Walmart, you get them for $1 or something. And for people, I'm sure everyone knows what a pool noodle is, but I'm talking about those maybe 5-foot long foam straw type things. And even one of them hardly will hold your body, keep your body afloat. You kind of need a couple of them. And they're always just gross to touch, and kids will chew on them. And Yeah, it's a stupid thing. Anyway, this is a segment about hypocritical stories related to birds. We heard how the people in Kelowna knocked the goslings off the 4-story balcony with pool noodles and will face no repercussions. But let's hear, or have yet to face repercussions, but let's hear about a woman in Gatineau, Quebec, who is being threatened quite fiercely with a massive fine, not for pushing birds off of a balcony, but for feeding them. Here's the story of the backyard bird feeder that's caused a big buzz in Gatineau.
A woman living in Gatineau could face a hefty fine. The reason? Her bird feeder.
This bird feeder right here, yeah.
Ashley Robillard installed a bird feeder on a tree in her backyard a few weeks back. She said it was a nice way for her family, including her young daughter, to enjoy the sights and sounds of nature. But last Friday, she came home to a notice from the city on her door that wasn't so chipper. It said she could be violating Gatineau City bylaw and could potentially be on the hook for a $400 fine. So she called up the city.
He said somebody complained about my bird feeder, and I'm like, what's the problem about my bird feeder? Well, they said the seeds could fall to the ground and it could attract savage wild animals. And I said, okay, well, what should I do? Is there a solution? He said, well, you could put a plate underneath or just a plate on the floor. And he explained also that if there's another complaint, I will go to court. They'll bring me to court and I'll have to pay the $400. Trying to explain to my daughter, Mommy has to take down the bird feeder. We can't feed the birds no more. I know my daughter was sad about that too.
I think we've complained about bird feeders on this show before and how they can attract pests like rats and mice and everything else. But just in the context of everything we went through in this first segment here, the story in Kelowna, they want nothing to do with prosecuting the people who murdered the goslings. But this lady in Gatineau with a backyard bird feeder, they're like ready to take her to court. Where are the Gatineau bylaw enforcements? Why can't Kelowna hire the Gatineau bylaw enforcement officers to deal with this? I'm so upset by this.
You're upset. What makes you upset about this story? I think she's
not about this story. I just think like that this can happen to this lady, and they're ready to do something about it, and they're willing to go to court. Where the building managers at that place in Kelowna, they're just like, meh. We talked to them about it. We educated them on that.
Yeah, but they had the pool noodles, so there was nothing we could do about it because they threatened us with the pool noodles. So and we didn't want the same thing to happen to us that happened to the birds. So yeah, but I agree with the city that she lives in Quebec. The bird feeders, they attract wildlife and nasty critters, and I understand that having them, it's the seeds, they fall to the ground, and that's what feeds the mice and the rats and the raccoons and the wild turkeys, as we learned in the previous story. So if you want wild turkeys completely taking over your neighborhood and eating all your groceries and driving in your cars, then have a bird feeder.
It may be like a game of telephone, and what she's relaying to the news isn't exactly what they said, but she implied that like the bylaw enforcement people suggested she'd be okay if she put a plate underneath the bird feeder on the ground. Did you get that?
I think that was more of a language barrier situation where maybe she wasn't quite understanding, because I think they meant like a plate underneath it. Like you can get plates so the seeds don't hit the ground. If she were to put the plate on the ground, that would completely defeat the purpose.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. You just like see a bunch of rats like eating the seeds off of a plate.
And loving it. It's like a nice clean plate for us to eat off of. Normally we have to eat off of the ground. We love coming here.
Yeah. Is it not unusual that we've managed to collect this many bird stories just from the past week? Like, is something going on in Canada related to the media and birds?
Well, I know exactly what it is. It's winter is over. The birds are just coming back from flying south. So now they're getting up to some trouble.
I should have prepped myself on this, but do geese migrate?
Let's move on to the next story.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're not stepping far away from animals. We have a duo of stories related to animals and trucks. This is a weird one, but stick with us here. Animals and trucks after this short break. I'll pop open Google, Aaron. We got to figure this out about the geese.
Not a chance.
Handsome Aaron Airport. This is going to be interesting. This is the first time in 211 episodes that we focus specifically on animals and trucks and that thin line between them. We got two stories about animals and trucks. The first one is going to take us to Saskatchewan. A Saskatchewan tow truck driver ended his workday with an unusual gig. He saw a moose that fell through the ice of a pond, and he did exactly what he had to do.
In the last 12 years, there's not much Clint Gottinger hasn't seen as a tow truck driver.
There's a lot of things that go, how?
His most recent rescue is less of a head scratcher, but still something he won't forget.
I'm just chuckling. That's not my first water rescue, but first moose rescue.
A young moose stuck and stranded. It had fallen through the ice along a ditch in east central Saskatchewan. Gottinger spotted the animal over the weekend on his way to another call.
I can't see him suffer. I just couldn't see an animal suffer. I thought, I got to get him out. He just sat there patiently and put the sling around his butt and popped them right out. So meanwhile, while I'm doing the moose rescue, I've got customers calling, where are you?
He was already late, so he towed the moose back to his farm, where it stayed to rest and dry off before it carried on the next day. It's not the first moose rescue on the prairies this month. Just last week, this group pulled one out of the water in Manitoba, and wildlife rescues say they receive calls every year about animals on the ice. Gottinger just happened to be in the right place at the right time with the right equipment to help out.
He didn't have no roadside assistance or cash, so.
A friendly encounter he and the moose are surely grateful to have had.
That's a nice story. My hat's off to the tow truck driver who was willing to back his truck up to the pond and throw some ropes around a moose and pull him to safety.
Yeah, that's great. But do you think that he uses that as an excuse every time he's late for work? Oh, sorry, boss. I found another moose in the ice. I'm finding a moose in the ice every Monday morning.
I don't think he uses it as an excuse. I think this is just a good guy. I think what should happen to those pricks in Kelowna is they should be locked on a 4th-story balcony with this tow truck driver. See how good those pool noodles do.
What's he going to do to them?
He beat the crap out of them. A tow truck driver, they're tough guys, right? They're just carrying around chains, throw the chains on your truck and yank it out of there. And, that's kind of guys that would beat the crap out of someone for messing with goslings.
Yeah, but these pool noodle guys could know martial arts. They could be tough too. I don't know.
Do you think a martial artist is going to wield a pool noodle?
It's an effective weapon.
I guess against goslings. No, I'm putting out, without even seeing photos of these guys, I'm putting my money on the tow truck driver. What I couldn't really get out of this, though, is he rescues the moose. The moose is all wet and cold. He brings the moose back to his property and looks after it. How does that happen? Is the moose just kind of laying in the front yard? Or did he bring the moose in the house?
It looked like he was laying in the front yard, but it seems like we don't have all of the footage of that interaction. So it's hard to say.
I think it would have been relevant, though. It must have been. If it had been in the house, that would have been such an interesting angle. They would have had to leave that in. And I guess, why would you take a moose in the house? Could you imagine?
Yeah, no, you can't take a moose in the house. But the moose will dry off outside and, in the fresh air. And I'm sure maybe he's got a barn and the moose hung out in the barn. I don't know. He's a tow truck driver. I don't know what he does.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess he probably just let the moose lay in the yard with blankets or something, and then when the moose was ready, it just got up and walked off.
He probably got an extension cord with a hair dryer, and then he came out and he just hair dried him until he was good.
A moose would love that after spending a day in the ice fighting for your life, to have some tow truck driver just blow dry you
and brush you.
and just rub behind your ear
and sing to you.
I love you, tow truck. Yeah, this could have really turned into a different story in this tow truck. If it had been a baby moose, and then the baby moose was like, "You are my mama now," and then they would have to live together, and then I guess the moose could work as a tow truck driver without the truck, because a moose.
Well, certainly, yeah. A moose would have the power to tow any vehicle.
Yeah. Oh man, that story really had some potential. I'm gonna play that out in my mind, I think, when I lay in bed tonight.
Yeah, would have been a great sitcom.
Let's go on to another one that also, I don't think this story could be a great sitcom, but it could certainly be some kind of, Saturday Night Live spin-off sort of movie. I could see, Chris Farley, David Spade starring in the movie film adaptation of this next story together. Let's go to Alberta.
Two families are in shock after a pickup truck with 2 peacocks inside was stolen from a hotel parking lot over the weekend. William Schulting and Jody Way made the trip from Prince George, BC to Elk Point, Alberta to pick up the birds along with a horse named Spirit and a donkey named Badonkadonk from Way's uncle, who has cancer and is no longer able to care for them. Now the plan was to drive them back to BC, but that all changed when the couple stopped for the night in Stony Plain. They had a room that overlooked the parking lot where they'd left the truck and trailer and checked on the animals around 2 a.m. before heading to bed. They say they now know the truck was stolen just an hour later and that it was a heartbreaking discovery to wake up to.
Confused as to why somebody would take something like that, especially with animals in it.
A truck's a truck, but the animals, I quite like the donkey. I like the horses. I still like them all, but it's a lot easier to replace a truck, but it would be nice to get it back.
RCMP found the trailer with the horse and donkey ditched on a side road just a couple hours after it was reported missing, but have yet to find the truck or the approximately 2-year-old breeding pair of peacocks. The couple say they also had their school textbooks, laptops, and some ID in the truck, and they say they wish the thieves would have thought about the harm that they were causing to people, and in this case, animals, when they commit these kinds of crimes. RCMP are now asking people to keep an eye out for a white Ford F-350 crew cab with a BC license plate.
A lot happens in that news story, and it happens fast. We got a lot to talk about, but just on its surface, let's start with the stolen truck and the peacocks. What's your take on this?
Well, I doubt that they were stealing it knowing that they were going to be stuck with 2 peacocks.
That'd be it's a hard pet to keep. Like what they were stealing was a truck with the peacocks in the back that was connected to like one of those horse wagons that had the horse and the donkey in it. So they stole it, and not far away from where they stole at this hotel, they unhooked that wagon thing that had the horse and the donkey, but they continued on with the peacocks, which is pretty weird.
Yeah, it is weird. You would think that, I don't know, what would you do though? So you have the peacocks, you've stolen the truck, you've left the carrier that has the donkey and the horse behind. It's okay that we've dealt with that. How are we going to deal with these peacocks? What are we going to do with them?
Yeah, you would have thought that they would have just left them with the horse and the donkey.
But can you though? They're not going to, they would have to physically take the peacocks out and then put them in the carrier and then drive away.
The
right?
peacocks were in these big cages. So if they had to just slid the cages off the truck, left the wagon thing with the horse and the donkey and just the cages with the peacocks, I guess, next to it. Like that would just, that's not right to do, but we're talking about thieves here. They don't want to be stuck with peacocks. Certainly what they're going for is the truck.
Certainly the truck, but maybe they see some value in the peacocks, and obviously they're beautiful exotic birds. So
be tough to sell though.
Perhaps tough to sell, but I don't know. Maybe they thought, hey, we can do something with these birds.
It's a breeding pair. We could breed an army of these things.
Yeah, we could have so many peacocks.
I don't know if you caught this, but they interviewed the owners of the truck briefly in that news piece. It was I think it was I don't know if it was a husband and wife or whatever, but the lady, she expressed like sorrow that this happened and shock and disbelief that someone would do this. And then when they turned the mic to the guy, he seems to really be fixated on his truck. He's like, yeah, like I like the horse and the donkey. Not so much the other animals, talking, of course, about the peacocks. He's like, but it would be really nice to get my truck back. I'm surprised they let
Yeah,
that in.
and his ID and his laptop too.
Yeah.
He was complaining about that. He's like, "This is a real pain in my ass. This whole thing. Never should have got those peacocks."
I would be surprised. Well, I don't know. I guess this is normal, but to leave the truck outside of the hotel, would that be normal? I feel like I would be kind of surprised if I pulled into some hotel.
You can't bring the truck into your hotel room with you.
Yeah, I guess what do you do if you're hauling peacocks and a horse and a donkey across the country or something? Just like even if I pulled into a hotel, I was parking my car, and I just saw in the back of a truck like 2 peacocks in a cage, I'd be a little like, well, should we tell someone about this? It just doesn't seem normal.
You got to stay at a pet-friendly Best Western is what you need to do.
And you bring them in?
And then you bring the donkey and the horse and the peacocks in with you. And it's pet-friendly. So.
Yeah. Well, we know how well that can go. We've heard in the past, the last couple episodes about the dogs in the mall in Montreal? Imagine they showed up there with horses, donkeys, and peacocks.
Yeah. But if you book through Expedia and you get the insurance, your trip is covered.
Okay. Do you think they're going to get the peacocks back? Honestly, like I imagine the truck's long gone, but the peacocks?
Yeah, the truck is long gone and sold, but the peacocks, there's still like 2 criminals with their ski masks still on, just staring at these peacocks, being like, "What are we going to do with you?"
Like I told you, though, it'd make a great movie, right? Could you just picture it's Chris Farley and David Spade, and they're these 2 criminals, or even the criminals from Home Alone. What are they called? The bandits?
Oh, the wet bandits.
Like they thought it was this great thing to steal this truck, and then they're stuck with 2 peacocks.
Yeah,
Be a complicated bird to be a complicated animal to get stuck with.
Yeah, I don't know what you would do. I mean, I'm not a criminal. I don't steal trucks, so I'm fortunate enough to not have to be faced with this situation. So ever in my life.
I just hope they didn't, like, if they did ditch these peacocks, I hope they did it somewhere where they'll be found. Because that's my fear, is that they just dump them off somewhere.
You know what they should do is, so they have these peacocks and they're like, you know what we'll do is we'll put them in the ice water and we'll call a tow truck.
Oh, maybe that could work. But this is a different area. Where was the tow truck driver? He was in Saskatchewan. This is in Alberta. What are the chances that there is also like a Weeping Heart tow truck driver that's willing to like breastfeed these peacocks back to health?
Well, this tow truck driver, if there's an animal in distress, he'll be there.
Okay, so he'll get
no matter how late to work it makes him.
Okay, this guy will save the day. I guess you're right, but this is a lot of animal stories in one week, right? Have we ever like loaded an episode so heavy on one specific topic before, other than tires, holes?
Yeah, we have a bunch of times. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point. You mentioned that your theory as to why there are so many weird animal stories in the news right now is because it's spring, animals are coming out of hibernation, migration, all that stuff is happening. There is one animal we didn't mention that if it exists, it could be waking up and maybe showing itself to people. I want to play you a voicemail from a correspondent named Mike who wants to let us know about something that's in the news related to, I guess, legendary animals? I don't know. Let's see.
So, Jordan, I just wanted to give you a heads up if you haven't seen the story. Apparently, even major news outlets here in Canada have picked up that there has been a Bigfoot flap here in southern Ontario in the Chatham area. That's south of London, Ontario. Yes, at least three different sightings of Bigfoot in the Thames Valley. So that's interesting. I'm personally not a believer, but there you go.
So yeah, he's not lying there. There have been some news articles about, as he puts it, a flap, which is just like a period of increased activity of Bigfoot sightings in the specific area. I've traced the source of this, and it seems like there's an American-based website that tracks and maps Bigfoot sightings, and there was like 3 from this area in Ontario, and somehow that led to like the media, like the news catching wind of it, and it just became a bit of a thing. But it's not like there's like photos or any strong evidence that really makes it that juicy. They just kind of appear on a map run by like a Bigfoot centric site. But all that said, if you go out in the woods right now, there's not leaves on the trees yet, like it's just starting, so you can get a good look around. The ground is nice and dry and a little bit crunchy sounding, so you can probably hear a little bit too. It's a good time for Bigfoot watching and hunting if you were into that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to go out into the woods at night alone listening for monsters. That's for sure. I'm not going to follow your advice there or your recommendation.
You do go out in the woods a lot, though. You love walking. Do you believe in these things? Have you seen them?
Have I seen a Bigfoot? No, I haven't seen a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, no, I go out in the daytime and I go out on very clearly marked trails that you don't often have to worry about Bigfoot roaming around. So, yeah, are you going to go outside tonight and wander the woods and see what you come across?
It's when I go outside at night, it's usually with my sweet girl Penny by my side. And I'll tell you, if we encountered a Bigfoot, it would be a mess. Because if we encounter another dog, a cat, a car with a loud muffler, God forbid a deer, she goes absolutely ape crap. If we encountered a Bigfoot, I don't even know what the hell would happen.
This is one of the reasons that in Quebec they've banned bird feeders, because of the Bigfoot that come into your yard and eat up all the seed. So what they do recommend is that you just simply put a plate down on the ground with completely covered in bird seed. And the Bigfoot, they don't understand dinnerware, like plates and... It just kind of scares them off. They don't quite know what it is. So that's why they recommend that you do that. You leave the plate right on the ground.
We've been through a lot tonight. We talked about a lot of animals, mainly birds, but there were other animals thrown in there. Bigfoots, moose.
Other birds and
peacocks.
More animals and another bird. Yeah.
So for people out there who like animals aside from cats and dogs, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do want to sing its praises, go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whichever of those podcast platforms you like and use. Give Keep Canada Weird and or The Canadian Gothic 5 stars. Then go to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and you can fill out your swag pack redemption form, and we'd be happy to send you with some stickers and stuff as thank you. And if you have something to say about any of the stories you heard tonight, send us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe it'll be in episode 212 that we'll be releasing next week, or maybe it'll be in the next Keep Canada Weird mailbag, like the one we released just 2 days ago that included a whole bunch of listener mail that didn't make it into our latest episode. If you haven't heard that episode yet, Keep Canada Weird Mailbag 13, it's available on the premium feed as well as the Keep Canada Weird specific podcast feed. I'm out of breath. Anything you want to say before we put a bow on this journey through the weird Canadian news stories related to birds and other animals? Handsome Aaron Airport.
Yeah, let's get off the topic of animals and get back on the topic of numbers here. Again, if you hate the numbers opening at the show that Jordan has been doing like I do, go canadiangothic.com/contact, leave a voicemail to complain, and if your complaint is heard on the show, then you'll get your swag pack.
It's an interesting phone number. I knew nothing about it. And I'm sure there's some people out there like, I would like to get some support on, blank issue. I'm going to call 211 and ask about it. See, Keep Canada Weird's not just about weird news. You learned something here.
Jordan, bus stop, backhoe, Bonaparte. Until next time.
It's a Marin Airport. Until next time.
You shouldn't feed the birds, but I prefer to go to where the birds feed me. My local Robin's Donuts for a coffee and their new brought back pizza pretzels.
Ooh, I like that. And I'm going to keep watching that story in Kelowna. You can tell I'm a little agitated by it. I hate hearing about cruelty to animals, and I hate hearing about people getting away with that kind of thing. I'm going to follow that story, and I hope to hear charges are laid.
Justice for the birds.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. Now, if any one of you listening want to get more involved in what we're doing, we need all the correspondence we can get. So if something weird happens in your area, or if you have any thoughts on anything we discussed tonight, let us know about it. The best way to reach us is by using the voice recorder that can be found at thecanadiangothic.com/contact. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up the episode, but before we part, let us thank a few people. First of all, Aaron and I want to give a big thank you to all the correspondents who contributed to this episode. If your voice message was aired on the show, go back to thecanadiangothic.com/contact and fill out the form to claim your swag pack and Keep Canada Weird badge. We'll happily get it right out to you. Next, a big shout out to Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada that you're about to hear. And then lastly, but most importantly, we have a massive thank you to every one of you listening, as without your interest and your support, this work would be impossible. And for any one of you out there who want to support the show financially and get more out of the show at the same time, please consider the premium feed. A premium feed subscription costs just a couple bucks a month, and that money will fund the creation of new episodes. But the premium feed will also give you those episodes early, give them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of Keep Canada Weird episodes and bonuses. You can go premium at thecanadiangothic.com/subscribe. And even if the premium feed isn't for you, you can still support the show by simply sharing episodes on social media. That's free, and it's a big help. So until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and please keep Canada weird.
And keep Canada weird. Please keep Canada weird.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
Are you excited? Oh, we got an excited girl. Come here, Penny. She doesn't know what is going on. I've never done this before. And she really pays attention to all the routines related to feeding. Penny, here you go, girl. Go ahead. Come here, Penny. Weird. She's a little confused. Okay, this is interesting. She's really turned off by the mic in front of her. She is terrified.
Wow. She's terrified of the mic.
If I keep the mic away, she'll eat. Okay, let me just let her finish.
Oh my God.
There you go, girl. I'm sorry to scare you, Penny. Here, give me a hug, girl. I love you. All right, that's it. You got it all. Okay, that went interestingly.
I was not expecting that. I was expecting to listen to her gobble up that food, and
you know, she loves food. I expected her to gobble it too, but now that I think about it, she is scared of a lot of stuff. You know, what terrifies her? Garbage bags freak her out. Boxes, anything like unexpected freaks her out. And yeah, bringing her down here to feed her, putting the mic that has a light on it in front of her face, she was just like, what the hell? She wanted nothing to do with it, but she's still sneaking around. Anyway, wet food with Ken Tiggs went great. Chomp and kibble with Penny was a bit of a horror show.
Well, we all get stage fright sometimes, and we get nervous in front of crowds. I can understand that. So I'm not going to hold that against Penny. I am going to, remind everyone at how well, wet food with the Tiggs went last week, and how he just gobbled up his food, and with the mic right there in front of him, performing, and just like his dad.
He's a natural.